Well, I had a really hard time picking the topics on this one because there's just so much to cover. So I will play fair. I only heard a little bit of what Nora said on her live, and as expected, it was pretty stupid and deceptive, but I will try to play nice and interpret it in the best way possible. And Aaron put out a not big video. I tried to download it, but I could not. And my internets are severely limited because my funds are severely limited. I don't want to go overboard that I'm, super poor, but I'm also not super rich. So please consider supporting the channel via either subscribing and or to the other channel, Examining Kubrick, or consider becoming a channel member. I will start to put some new content up soon. All right, let us get into the thing. I will get into DOA and the Palestine issue at the end, but that will be more prefatory. I will get to that in detail in other videos. So what is happening? Well, apparently Aaron put up a video about alleged hacking scam. There's an alleged hacking scam with a Scientology business, but the more I got into it, there really isn't a thing here. But again, I did not see the video, so maybe Aaron will clarify. But given his trend, especially now that he's been facing a lot of pushback, he tends to go back to his tabloid stuff. Hey, listen, I once consumed a lot of this stuff, so I'm not going to shame people, but sometimes it's fairly weak. So what happened? Well, apparently there's this Clearwater business that accidentally, or wasn't an accident, hired a North Korean computer hacker. So now it looks all kinds of embarrassing. Though when you think it through, technically the victim is the company. So I don't know. And Aaron is linking it to Scientology, and it's one of these kind of yes, kind of no. The co-owner of the company, yes, he is a Scientologist, and I think he's still active. He's actually pretty wealthy. But they sold the company years ago, and they sold it for over $4 billion with a B. That's technically more money than the church has. So how much he got out of this? He is definitely a wealthy donor because he's got those weirdo medals and trophies that Miscavige keeps sending out to, the faithful willing to, give up some cash. So he definitely gives a little bit of money to Scientology. So I guess what we're doing is embarrassing the guy, but he's not, as far as I know, the current owner. And I don't think they sold it off to another Scientology company. So it doesn't seem like there's a thing here. It's also pretty bizarre because Aaron has his own computer hacking scandal. I know, you're like, what? Yeah, he got caught up with some hackers who wanted to damage Scientology. Again, it's YouTube. I cannot approve of that legally. But even when you go more into that scandal, it was just clownishly silly. And it's so bizarre. Like, what was the plan? I guess they wanted more accurate information on Scientology. And Aaron was playing along. He's never talked about this. He got caught by the police. He was interrogated. This is totally public. You can Google this. You can find him talking to the police about this computer hacking scandal that just went wrong. So for him to do a story on computer hacking, and, I've seen enough videos by Aaron. I'm going to predict, obviously, he's going to be very Mostic saying, oh my God, guys, a computer hacker in Scientology. Oh my goodness, it's so disturbing and disgusting. It's like, but Aaron, didn't you have... Oh, I will not allow any drama in my chat. I'll have to block you. All right, well, I have not seen the video, but there really is not much of a scandal here. It seems like he may have, being nice, misinterpreted the data, or he's just not letting people know. Oh, by the way, that's a former owner, not a current owner in Scientology. But anyway, but now let's skip to Nora. Let's be honest, Nora is the more interesting subject. Again, I only caught a little bit of this live, hence I'm asking for money because, again, I have a very basic phone. I can only get so much memory. So I want to be careful. I could be distorting what she said. I only have little snatches of what she said. And it was still kind of bizarre, weird, and the amount of lying was off the charts. And I get it. She's been embroiled with this big fight with DOA, a street protester that Aaron and Nora used to like. But now they're very, very distasteful of him. And again, there are many things you can be critical of Scott over. Though the thing they don't like about him is he's calling them out on their hypocrisy, which... it's probably not a strong reason to push back against one. So Nora, being the super radical, feminist, liberal poet that she was, called DOA GOA. You get it? It's GOA now. Hopefully, she'll explain that one. I guess maybe that was earlier in the stream. I guess GOA is short for go away at the moment. DOA is in Chicago. Now, being fair, I did see this. He was protesting the Chicago org. I'm not from Chicago. I've only been there to see relatives here and there. I'm not, again, when I visited them, I was not aware that it's kind of a mecca for the NOI and the Scientology people. So I've never been to that org. He basically dressed up as a South Park character and, being DOA, just had a little bit of fun and silliness. I have to admit, though, that was a pretty clever technique. But Nora, I don't know even where she got this from, interpreted DOA going to Chicago to destroy democracy. Now, DOA did say he was going to go to the DNC convention and, it's DOA, be DOA. So we can imagine that probably not a good idea. He's just going to cause a ruckus. However, I don't think he ever made a statement he was going to destroy the system. So
destroying the cult, your family and friends, you have to disassociate.
No, I'm still going it. It goes on this. It looks like you're writing on the street.
Oh, no, we're not going.
And look, wait, that goes here.
Okay. Nora had this weird speech about, guys, I don't care who you are, left or right, Republican or Democrat. This is a celebration of democracies. What are you doing? Why would you disturb that? Also, she updated us to let us know that she does not hate the people in Scientology. No. Our protests have no hatred. There is no hatred in our protests. Even though she literally has supported hate-filled protests for a year now, and she's still allied with some of the most hateful protesters like Nancy Drew. Are they still not allies? I know Pearl Snappy and her are not as close as they used to be, and Pearl Snappy was off the charts toxic. So yeah, the revisionism she's doing is, frankly, I'm not even exaggerating, on par with Trotsky and Stalin. We're just like revising the record completely. Hate in my protest? No, never. Nora would never do that. I've always obeyed the law. Okay, maybe. And I've never had no hatred. Oh, no, you've had a lot of hatred. So, I don't know. So that was just weird. And then they got into Patrick Stewart for some reason and saying, hear his audiobook. Like it's his memoirs. I actually read a lot of the memoirs because I try to do stuff on Dune and Star Trek. And I actually wanted to do that months and months. And that brings us to, why is DOA in Chicago besides the Scientology angle? Yeah, it's a little weird. And I did not notice this when even clicking on his video at first. It's like, apparently now DOA, wait for this, is pro-Palestinian. And I did a video earlier touching on Richard Dawkins and Christopher Hitchens, who were allies in the New Atheist movement. Hitchens died a while back, and he was one of the first, actually, journalists to really cover Palestine extensively. Back then, it was really hard to find any critical coverage of Israel, but he put out one of the early books with Edward Said that was very critical of Israel. So that's very noteworthy. It's a very good book. I'd recommend that. In any case, this issue has been a major part of American and British politics for a very long time, but it's taken a while for the mainstream to catch up. So I'm guessing, like many Americans, people are a little overwhelmed or now even tired. Like, what is this Palestine-Israel thing? Why is it so big? So I can only guess what Scott's contribution is going to be now. For one thing, it's a little puzzling because I have an older video where I exposed his racism, and it was targeting Middle Eastern men. He was calling them Al-Qaeda. So, is he like anti-Arab but pro-Palestinian? I don't know. How's he threading the needle? And yes, I'm not joking. He used to be active in Black Lives Matter, but recently he kind of confessed he's still a little bit racist towards black people. Although, to be fair, he says he's also kind of racist towards white people. So there you go. So he's a man of all seasons. So what the hell is he up to? I don't know. But I will give him this, that despite Nora's misrepresentation, something big is going to happen. There is like a massive set of protests being planned at the DNC over the Palestine issue. And I'm guessing other issues, but good or bad, this issue has been building and building for decades and decades. And if you think I'm just doing Aaron hatred, no, Aaron actually covered this a little bit last year. He did a video on how Scientology is trying to exploit the Israel-Palestine conflict. So yeah, good or bad, this is going to become bigger and bigger and bigger. So I am going to do some coverage of it. But I do realize some subscribers are like, I don't care about the Scientology. I don't care about Israel. Just cover Rings of Power. Just cover Last of Us. Don't bring in that stuff. But see, the thing is, that's there because the creator of Last of Us, yes, he's pro-Israeli, and he even used Israeli warfare in the video game, and some of that crept into the TV adaptation. And like it or not, or believe it or not, Rings of Power, yes, does have a Scientology angle. But I do realize some subscribers want to focus on, quote, the pop culture stuff. Yes, obviously it works in a political context, but minimize the politics, focus on just the aesthetics. I will do those videos, but I will do some videos where I will dip into the political aspects. Again, I realize not all subscribers will support that. Not all subscribers like that, but please give those videos a chance if you can. So where is DOA heading to? I don't know. I mean, he's not Noam Chomsky. He's definitely not Hitchens. So when did he become aware of the Palestine issue? We know that after his participation in other movements, he was told, hey, anti-Scientology is big. You need to get in on that. And lo and behold, he showed up. So is this just money? Does he just see this as a really big movement? And he's like, oh, this is a lot of cash. Yeah, this is a lot of money for the DOA, man. I don't know. I mean, there is a link here to be threaded. I'm sure there is, though. The Scientology people, from what I've seen, like Miscavige just seems opportunistic. He doesn't seem to be partisan in that way. He will just go with whatever political people go his way. He will work with anyone. He will shake hands with anything. Democrat, dictator, Jew, black. He does not care. As long as it gets more power, that's what he's about. And unfortunately, the Democrats don't care about the Scientology issue. I don't think the Republicans do either, though Trump is a more interesting story, and I will give an update on that because he actually did speak on Scientology explicitly, but then he didn't do very much. So, it's a big question mark on both sides. So, like it or not, we got to deal a little bit with Palestine and the DOA intersection. So stay tuned.